everybody. It's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R Chat. It's Sunday, April 21st, 2024, and we have an Amber Alert here. I will not rest until Harrison Locke is safely returned to his gilded bedroom in his dino PJs and reunited with Zippy the Fox. I will not rest. Look, poison the entire Newman family? Go ahead. Burn down Victoria's house? Fine. Kill a guy? Whatever. But kidnap a kid? No, Mr. Ma'am. That is where I draw the line. That is totally unacceptable, Jordan. Totally unacceptable. I'm all for villainy, but this is too far. Take Claire. I don't care. Chloroform her. Take her all the way to the south of France, but leave Harrison out of it. I'm telling you, this storyline gave me anxiety all week long. I am a child of the 80s, okay? Back when, like, 1 in every 3 children wound up with their face on the side of a milk carton. Okay, that stat is untrue, but I grew up in a time when kidnappings were a very big part of the public consciousness, and my mother drove that into me so hard that I was afraid to go outside. No joke. I thought there was a kidnapper on every corner just waiting to snag me. I know my first name is Steven, okay? So actually seeing Harrison with Jordan in some dingy hotel room with her brainwashing him like that by saying, your mom and dad don't want you anymore. I'm your Aunt Jordan and I'm going to take care of you from now on. No, that is straight out of my childhood nightmares. I feel traumatized. I feel triggered and traumatized. My family is sending me to therapy school on Monday where I will be given ERP and daily journaling tasks. So that is my perspective as a child who was paranoid about getting kidnapped. But now, to add the extra layer of anxiety, I'm a parent, and so I can't stop all week looking at my daughter and thinking about what anguish that would be. Oh my gosh. And here's the thing. I mean, you know, we don't totally take it seriously. I don't think we're supposed to take it totally seriously, and yet we do. Maybe. Because the thing is, kids have been kidnapped on Y&R probably 100 times before. The kid always disappears, and it's very like, whatever, they'll be found. But here's why this is different. There's 2 reasons, okay? Number 1, this is different because we actually saw little Harrison in a hotel room with the evil kidnapper, brainwashing him, abusing him. Abuse. So child abuse. And the number 2 reason that this is different and is hitting me the way it is because there's no quick resolution here. I don't think it's just being played for plot. It's being played for absolute gut-wrenching emotional drama. 2 terrified parents. 1 guilty parent, the guilt of the parent who was supposed to be watching the kid when the whole thing happened. Oh my God, I will never forget the story of John Walsh and what his he and his wife went through. You know John Walsh from America's Most Wanted. His son was kidnapped at the mall while the kid was there with his mom. I mean, what does that do to you? What does that do to your marriage? Triggered and traumatized. Triggered and traumatized. I mean, Summer and Kyle are like already divorced, so there's no marriage to be ripped apart. But Summer twisted the knife. She wants Kyle to know that this is on him. She said it. That if anything happens to Harrison, this is on your head. You know, he hated that, like everyone else except Summer, he trusted Claire. He let Claire glide right upstairs with Harrison to read a book in the child's bedroom, a stranger in the child's bedroom, someone he really didn't know that much about. Except she's kind of extended family-ish. And then the next thing he knows, they're both gone. Vanished. Nothing but a flower truck outside, an abandoned nothing but a pile of flowers at the back porch and an abandoned flower truck by the side of the road. And all that came out later because at first glance, it all looked very clear. Claire had this interest in children that everyone knew about. And she had this connection with Harrison that, in retrospect, could seem contrived. And that's all Summer sees. That is all Summer sees, and I don't blame her one bit. I mean, I think she's looking for someone to blame, yes. And Claire's the easy target, but Summer believes that's where the evidence is pointing. And, you know, she's just looking at everything through a curtain of grief and torture and pain, and all she can think about is her son, scared and confused in some strange place. Who knows what's happening to him? Who knows if he's even still alive? And Claire is the last person to have saw him. Claire is the obvious culprit. But, okay, we're the audience. We know different. And also the other characters are starting to figure it out that it's just not adding up. Kyle doesn't believe and certainly did not want to believe that he had made such a massive mistake trusting Claire and thinking that, you know, Claire was behind this whole thing all along. Victoria and Cole certainly don't want to believe it either. They don't want to believe it, that Claire could be behind that they totally misjudged her, or that she was re-brainwashed by Jordan. And then Nikki and Victor also don't believe that Claire did this because Nikki and Victor know that Jordan is on the loose, and bonus guilt that they lured her out intentionally with this wedding party, not thinking that Jordan was going to turn around and target someone who was not in their immediate circle. They thought Jordan would target them directly, not someone outside the family, someone so vulnerable. But we know it. We know exactly what happened. We saw Jordan chloroform Claire, and now Jordan is sending text messages from Claire's phone, trying to make it look like it's Claire, and trying to arrange escape for herself out the country, wanting to take Victor up on his previous offer. Oh, okay, so now the chateau in the south of France is looking pretty good to you, huh, Jordan? I mean, lady, what makes you think that you just won't get just arrested the second that you get there? This is not 1944. You cannot just flee to France and get away with anything you want. Y&R is really on a kid kick right now. We got 2 kids on the show, period, in total, and they're both in serious peril. Ugh. Connor. Actually, I guess what I should say is Adam and Chelsea, because I don't really know what Connor is going through. I haven't talked to him directly. I only know what Adam and Chelsea are going through and what their perspectives are. And that's just not what I need. Somebody said it last week, and now I can't get it out of my head. Adam and Chelsea have consistently made this situation all about them. And maybe it's just Y&R thinking that people wouldn't want to see Connor's perspective. Like, that wouldn't be as interesting because he's a child and we're adults and we're interested in the stories of the adults. But I don't know. I just kind of feel like this whole story isn't about Connor. It's about Adam and Chelsea asking themselves daily, what did we do wrong? How could this be happening to us? And even when they're saying, we have to make this about Connor. We have to make this about Connor, not about us. They're still making it about themselves, even when they're saying that. Adam had to do a therapy session, his own private therapy session with his ex-wife to talk about it with Sharon, who really has no knowledge or anything of the situation. Why are you not going directly to the school to get answers if it's still unresolved for you? I don't know. I think Adam and Chelsea do not know what to do. I'm sure it's completely normal to blame yourself if your kid is having problems, because let's face it, at that age, if your kid is having problems, it probably is your fault. And the thing is, Adam and Chelsea are soap opera characters. They're larger than life. They're living in a soap opera larger than life world. I mean, both Adam and Chelsea independently and together have withstood a whole lot of soap drama, while their child has just been, waiting back in the background, baking cookies in the kitchen with the nanny. I feel like we are seeing the real life repercussions here, the real life soap repercussions here of what it's like to be a soap kid. This is what happens to soap kids when you shove them back into the background. They come back with problems. Soap kids don't become well-adjusted adults. Duh. So on the one hand, I'm thinking, okay, well, if this were anywhere near reality, which it's not, I just can't imagine a scenario where I would sign my child over to this mental health hospital school where they don't let me talk to him, they don't let me visit him, and they just give me updates over video call. No. But then on the other hand, I think, well, maybe this is exactly what Connor needs to get away from his parents. I don't know. I mean, I think it's an interesting shift of the times in how parents parent. Because I don't think that parents were as common at making their lives all about their kids as they are today. 'Cause I bet your parents didn't. I mean, I know my parents did it. For me, it was like, here's food, here's clothes, do what you want, just don't get kidnapped. But then I'm comparing that to my experience right now, as a parent of a 7-year-old, I think just looking around at other families, I'm like, wow, I wasn't raised like this. I think it's shifted toward this tendency to coddle, to identify every little thing that's in their heads and pick it apart. And so I'm caught between these two worlds, these two schools of thought, the way I was raised and then the way kids are being raised now. And I'm thinking, well, is it trauma or is it normal? Because I just don't know how to be objective here. Because when the doctor said that Connor was questioning whether or not he should ever have been born, I wasn't thinking, oh, poor Connor. I was thinking, oh yeah, I felt that way too. That's exactly how I felt. As a kid, I absolutely remember questioning whether or not I ever should have been born. So that seems completely normal to me. I don't know. Depression, which is I think what it is, seems normal to me. Depression seems normal to me. Trauma seems normal to me. Clinging to things in my world that make me feel safe, things like Y&R, seem normal to me. So, is it me? Or is that just life? Is that just the big secret that maybe somebody needs to tell Connor? That it's normal to be scared? That it's normal to be depressed? That everyone is traumatized? That everyone is obsessive compulsive? And that everyone's parents have messed them up? I don't know. Let's all head to the kitchen for a fresh out of the oven batch of Mrs. Martinez's chocolate chip cookies. That's all Ashley needs. Cookies. She just needs some cookies. And that'll solve it all. Well, I thought that was interesting to see how the Abbotts were trying to hide the situation with Harrison from Ashley so as not to further upset her, I guess. I kind of wonder if she'll be resentful about that in the future, being kept in the dark. Like, why wouldn't you tell me that? I don't know. I was relieved to see that Ashley woke up as Ashley this week, but although at the same time I'm like, well, am I glad? Because the drama from last week was really pretty good. But it's going to be hard to top that. So I wonder if we've seen the peak and now we're just going to write it down. Because Tracy helped Ashley get an appointment with a psychologist that she appeared to go to, but did she actually? Because next week in the previews, we seem almost to be getting a third Ashley emerging. No, wait, that'd be number 4. Yeah, 4. Or, yeah, I guess a 4. However you want to count it, if normal Ashley counts. A 4th Ashley, we'll say. But because it didn't sound like, it certainly wasn't normal Ashley. It didn't sound like devil on the shoulder Ashley. It didn't sound like angel on the shoulder Ashley. She sounded like Blanche Devereaux from the Golden Girls. She sounded like a kind of slutty Southern belle ordering a drink at the bar. Look out now, Tucker. She's a man-eater. You know, when Christine and Paul got divorced, Christine was really questioning her life. She was really questioning she was looking back at her whole life and questioning if she made the right decisions. She realized and was very cognizant about the fact that she chose her career over having a family. That she kind of chose helping other people's families instead of starting her own. And she was dealing with a lot of what ifs around that. And now here we are just a couple of months later, and she has reignited this new old love with Danny. And it's such a gift. It's such an incredible gift. And in some ways, it feels like she's choosing her career again. Because Danny invited her to go on this tour, and it sounds like it's a time of your life, once in a lifetime opportunity, a whirlwind, romantic. You know, I mean, how many other chances will there be to do something like this? You don't know if you even have a tomorrow. And then she gets contacted by this longtime client who she feels loyal to, who needs her help on a big case. And she chose to take that case instead of going on the tour. And I think, you know, at the end of the day, that's who Chris is. That's who she is. She is always going to choose to help someone. She's always going to choose someone else's life over her own. What someone else needs over what she wants. And I admire that about her. She is a soldier. You know, she will fight for your life even more than she would fight for her own. But is that the right decision? Will she regret that? I mean, it's true that it doesn't have to be all or nothing. She can certainly catch up with Danny on the weekends. But that's rather safe for soap opera, you know, where we're dealing with extreme, you know, the extreme points. She made a safe decision. I think that's exactly what it is. I think Christine chose safe. I think she knows what she knows. I think she chose to stay with what she knows. And I mean, Christine knows the law. Christine does not know Danny's world. And that's almost what kind of makes me nervous about it all. That these two will eventually find that their worlds are incompatible. Lily is tired of being nice. Good. I say good. I'm tired of Lily being nice too. I am glad that she is being vengeful and irrational, because I think it's fun to watch. I mean, of course she's wrong. Of course. It is completely inappropriate for her to use her position of power to make Heather and Daniel pay for a personal decision. The heart wants what the heart wants. There's no person on the planet who would argue that what Lily did in firing them was fair. It's not fair. That's the point. That's the point. And Devon is paying her lip service. Devon is going along with whatever she needs because he expects the same blind devotion from her when he needs it. It's Nate and Billy who are bringing the reality to her. It's Nate and Billy who are holding up the truthful mirror, trying to show her how she looks right now. But she doesn't want to see that. She wants to have her revenge, and then she wants to move on with her life. And she wants for the yes men around her to just say that she did everything right. But that is not going to happen. It has been foreshadowed. Lily is going to continue to dig her heels in with Devon's support. And then Heather and Daniel are going to fillet her in the court and in the court of public opinion and with Phyllis's support and Phyllis's shenanigans behind it all. And you better believe that Lily's going to be sorry she did this. She's going to pay. If you're thinking right now that Lily is being completely unreasonable, just wait. She's going to get it. Ow! That was our quote from last week. I'm just going to do it again because it feels good. Ow! Ashley said it, you guys. She was in the middle of her, big rant at everybody where she was just ripping into absolutely everybody. And she said, well, Tracy, what are you going to do? Put me as a character in one of your novels? Have me howl at the moon? Ow! I cannot believe that everyone did not get that. I thought for sure that was such a moment. I thought you guys were going to get it. Maybe out of context, it was a little tougher. So I got to give extra big shout outs for everybody who guessed that it was Ashley who shouted it. So congratulations, Victoria, Dolores, Hannah, Tommy, Tanya, Henry, Sharon W., Kayla Rose, Brittany, and good old Marky. How about this for a quote? I don't want to look like a mess on the outside just because that's how I feel on the inside. Who said that? If you think you know, go to yrchat.com to leave your guess. And if you get it right, guess what? I'll give you your shout out during next week's Y&R Chat. And now on to your comments. And this is so great because just when I say, there is not a person on the planet who would say that what Lily is doing is fair. Here's Sherrod. Sherrod says, yes, she fired him for personal reasons, just like Victoria fired Adam and Sally and Victor fired Nate. At least Lily gave Daniel and Heather a severance package, which was worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. I don't recall the Newmans doing that. Lily is the reason that Omega Sphere even exists. She had Chancellor Winters invest all the money to create the game. Daniel had a doodle on a Matchbox cover. Daniel's now allowing Heather, his girlfriend, and his mother to influence him to sue Lily. Heather kicked his ass to the curb and found herself another man when she deemed him unsuitable. Lily gave him his confidence back. And this is how she gets treated? From my vantage point, Daniel used Lily. He knew that he was still in love with Heather. He said it to himself. Now he wants to sue the company when he knows he signed over his rights of ownership. When a person develops a game or an idea for a company, the company owns it. When you leave, you don't get to take it with you. It's called proprietorship. If Daniel wanted to own Omega Sphere, he should have raised the capital himself via investors. But he went to Genoa City to Lily because he knew she would help him. But now he believes he has the right to play dirty and still end up with everything? Typical. Sherrod! See, this is why I love Y&R Chat, because just when I am thinking of something one way, and I'm like, well, this is the only way I can see it, you come and you just spin everything around in the other direction and make me look at it a completely different way. Because, yeah, if you're going to play the game of nepotism, then you got to be willing to accept whatever cards get dealt, even if they're cards that you don't like. But that goes for Lily, too, because she acquired the game idea from Daniel because she had a personal relationship with him. Daniel trusted her to be the one to develop it. So is it personal? Yes. All around. it's personal. So I guess let the courts decide, right? I mean, I'm with you in that I think Daniel signed it away. Omegasphere should stay with Chancellor Winters. No doubt about that from me. But maybe let there be some more negotiation around the firings, if that's what they want. I think this is a good poll question for this week because, wow, I mean, like, it's pretty divisive, right? Lily versus Daniel. If you had to pick a side, what would you pick? Who would you pick? YRChat.com. That's our poll question for this week. Lily versus Daniel. Pick a side. Well, Daisy says it could be said that Lily slept with a subordinate, knowing that he had been trying to work out things with his ex. And when Daniel and Heather did get back together, she used her position to get back at them because her feelings were more important. When did Lily's personal life take precedence over everything in the workplace? It was the scene where, Daisy, good point. The scene where Lily was at her desk and Billy and Nate and Devon were all in there and they were all talking about it and kicking it around and saying, what are we going to do here? I just thought it did make Lily look really like vengeful, and she couldn't see what the problem was. Like, whatever, I'm getting rid of him. What's the problem? And then the outside opinion, like, hey, if I'm looking, Nate, for instance, if I'm looking at this from the outside, I don't think it's a good look on you, Lily. And it's not, and it may not be worth the hassle. Connie says, I thought it was interesting that they thought the matter should go to the board. Well, was the board notified that the CEO was dating a department head and that their corporate attorney was the ex-wife of the department head and his mother works there too? That would not go over well in a professional business setting. Yeah, they're going to go to the board and Lily's going to say, well, I fired my ex. That's cool, right, guys? She didn't go to the board to say, I'm going to hire my ex. Is that cool, guys? Oh, and his mom too? Oh, and his ex-wife? I want to see that board meeting. Hey, Diana says, I like seeing Billy, a new man, at Chancellor Winters. I remember last year when he was with Lily, he felt like an outsider at the company, as he does now. The difference is, a year ago, Billy just put his tail between his legs and left the company, almost like a shy, scared rabbit who felt defeated. This time around, Billy is a confident lion who won't be pushed around. Billy now feels entitled because it's his mother's company, and he's not about to let the Winters treat him without respect, the respect that he feels he has earned and deserves. I also like seeing Lily with the same attitude, that no one's going to play her for a fool and get away with it. I look forward to watching all of the drama unfold. Yeah, it is a new Billy. And I like the new Lily, too. I guess the thing is while she was away and Daniel and Heather were getting together, I didn't feel like it was a let's screw her over kind of thing. I felt that it was organic the way they got back together. Did Heather want it? Yeah. Did they both act inappropriately? Yeah. But I also, just kind of, I guess I understood it in terms of like, oh, well, that's what they just want to be together. And so he's going to have to break up with Lily. And the fact to not tell her immediately, I think, is what really messed her up and is making her want the vengeance. But yeah, you make a really good point here that it's drama, and it's nice to see. It's nice to see the lions come out instead of the rabbits. Well, new topic. Connie says, wow, I had forgotten all the trauma that Connor had endured. For a little kid, unfortunately, so many kids in the real world are in crisis too. And I think the public service announcements are great, and I encourage the message to include multiple sources for individual or family counseling services and volunteer opportunities for mentoring kids in our communities. Yeah, Connie, I acknowledge that this is a problem for kids. It probably has been for a very long time. I think an unhappy home equals an unhappy kid. Sometimes even a happy home can equal an unhappy kid. So it is a problem, and there is help out there. There are avenues. I'm not sure Y&R is doing the greatest job of presenting that, like presenting it as a PSA. I feel like the stuff that they tagged onto the end of it was a little contrived. Just like, here you go. Here's the website that you won't visit, and the further research that you won't do. But because, I mean, it's like, well, if they really wanted to address it, why are we in this like weird controversial school? And I remember when I looked up ERP therapy, it is very controversial, where it's like an immersion therapy where they subject you to the thing that you're afraid of and want to cure you for it. It sounds horrific to me. It sounds like old-timey medical like practices where they'd put you in the mental institution and perform experimental treatments on you. I don't know. It's all so whack. T. Nicole says, I'm all for the show addressing and making us aware of different topics such as OCD in children, but this Connor storyline is boring. I would love to see Chelsea and Adam struggle with how to handle Connor's OCD with Connor there with them. I just feel that we watch the same thing over and over. We get an update, and then Chelsea talks to Billy, and then always needs to comment about how Adam is not easy to deal with because he pushes back, and then both Adam and Chelsea are blaming themselves, and Adam gets consoled by either Sally and now Sharon. It feels like filler content. This is not teaching me anything about OCD, and I think seeing Chelsea and Adam interact with Connor and his OCD and in different ways would be way more interesting and realistic. I also have no expertise in this, but I find it very odd that the school would not want Chelsea and Adam to see Connor. I think the show wants to address the issue of OCD, but honestly, I wouldn't be completely surprised if Y&R took it in a direction of the school being a scam and a cover for something else. T. Nicole, I'm not really sure that Y&R does want to address the issue of OCD. It feels quickie, and it does feel like filler. I don't know. This is not satisfying to me. I mean, if I'm gonna care, I have to have Connor, and I don't have Connor. I have to see the patient. I have to talk to the patient. I have to know what Connor is really thinking. I have to be inside of these therapy sessions. And I'm not. Sue W. says, it was a given that Connor was doomed. Like all soap spawn who have history mired in over-the-top lunacy. Even more over-the-top lunacy. Upon even more over-the-top lunacy. I can appreciate the real-world connections that soaps try to mirror, but does anybody actually know a kid like Connor whose parents are the same, even remotely, with dysfunctional histories as Adam and Chelsea? No, not anywhere close. I just can't take Y&R too seriously regarding this topic. Yeah, I know, you're right. You're right. I take the Harrison thing a little bit more seriously than the Connor thing. Daisy says Connor's trauma seems more likely to come from his having been taken away from his home rather than the OCD. Being isolated in an institution may make him believe that it's true. He's responsible for his parents' pain, and he was taken away from them because of that. It might feel like a punishment to him. He also seems to be getting worse, not better. The OCD could be secondary to his being removed from his home, though, which might just be the actual traumatic event. Imagine that a small child is told something is wrong with them, and then rather than being in a supportive environment at home with his family, he's ripped away from his parents and alone with a bunch of strangers. Daisy, it's just like Jordan kidnapping Harrison and brainwashing him. I feel Connor has been kidnapped by this weird school where he's being held hostage, and Adam and Chelsea are not busting down the doors to go get him. I do not understand. I do not understand. Dolores, on a different topic, says, I had been looking forward to the day of the reunion of Adam and Sally, a couple who has shown that they are a soul couple. That day has come, hooray, yet there appears to be something missing between them or the actors. Is it me? But I fail to see the spark or desire coming from them to be together. Their touches are there, but not the warmth that I had perceived in the past. Someone help. Take me off this ledge of confusion or mistaken insight on their relationship. You know what it is, Dolores? We didn't need to take this turn into Connor Town. The story should have just gone back to the romance of Adam and Sally. Let them be happy. Let them have some sex. That's what we should be doing right now. Y&R's just on a real mental health kick. I don't know. Maybe they felt they needed to do something with Chelsea since Melissa Claire Egan came back. Maybe they wanted to connect that into her mental health issues. It's just, I don't know. It's not good. And I really feel like after all of the time that we waited for Adam and Sally to get back together, they finally get back together, and it's so anticlimactic. And it's so like all it ever is her reassuring him about being a parent, which then this week was just Sharon doing the exact same thing. Sue W says, I thought the same thing for some time now, as if the characters of Adam and Sally have been just going through the motions rather than feeling a reunited soulmates vibe. But with all that they've been through, albeit much self-caused, it does seem realistic that each is more now world-weary rather than giddy in new love and lust as before. I do believe they each have a deep sense of gratitude and commitment in their second try relationship, but they still often come across as morose. Shake it off, you two. Morose. Oh my gosh, Sue. That is unacceptable. Morose. I cannot believe it. I totally agree. Yeah, it's just the spark is not there. Bring it back. Speaking of spark, let's talk about Danny and Christine. Oh, Gary says, God love him. Danny is an incredible chump. Why is he telling it all to Phyllis? Next time Christine gets mopey, bemoaning her lonely state, remind yourself not to feel sorry for her. I know, it was the same thing. It's like Phyllis comes up into the conversation. He's like, yeah, fine, Chris decided not to go. Why would you tell her that? Why are you giving Phyllis the time of day at all? Diana says, I can't help but think that Phyllis will show up at one of Danny's shows and try to seduce him as she had done in the past. We all know that Phyllis is not going to lose out to the bug that easily without a fight. Phyllis says she's done with Danny, but we know she definitely is not. This may be her only chance to get Danny alone without Christine being in her way. I'm not really sure what Y&R has planned for this trio, but I definitely look forward to seeing where the storyline takes us, as it looks like it's not over just yet. Yeah, we had the preview with Danny talking to Tracy, which I am super excited for, but I don't want Danny to leave. Unless he leaves, and as you say, we get to see Phyllis following him on the tour. Phyllis was so convinced that she wanted him, and it definitely feels like she's pulled back, yet not really. She's kind of like, fine, I give up, but I'm spiteful about it. I'm still gonna jab at you about it. I don't know. Phyllis. Brent says Jordan has now crossed Phyllis. I'm afraid Jordan has now met her match. Didn't it sound like Nick was enlisting Phyllis and taking her down? I'm here for it. You know what? That's a good point, Brent. Everybody's kind of saying they want to take her down. I loved the moments when Victor was like, she's going to pay. I'm going to get her. I'm going to get her this time. Those were like really dramatic and emotion filled. But yeah, you make a really good point. Nick and Phyllis were like, we got to do something. We got to get our grandson back for our girl. Is that going to become anything? Because it does seem like Phyllis versus Jordan would be a great match. Or is it possible that someone's going to kill Jordan and we're going to not know who it was? We haven't had a whodunit in a while. Oh, Tina Cole says, Phyllis just gets me. She says to Summer that she would never leave Harrison with Claire like Kyle did. But Phyllis would fake her death and have her children mourn her so that she could be the catalyst for the reason Summer and Kyle divorced. And that doesn't matter now because she's just not that person anymore. It's these moments that make me chuckle. Yeah, Phyllis's outrage at Kyle's parenting skills was pretty good. Victoria says Allison Lanier is amazing. I am buying every line. I am totally convinced that she is distraught and a grieving mother. And when she said that she would trade herself for Harrison, I caught my breath. She is a fierce mother bear and could be an equal match for Jordan. Yes, I have loved Allison Lanier as Summer from the beginning, and she is probably what is pulling that emotional mom string for me and really drawing me into the story. I think she would be a good fierce match for Jordan. But this is Nikki's so-called battle. Nikki says she needs to be the one to take down Jordan. Victoria says, I think Nikki never hears herself speak. Once again, Nikki has a plan to catch Jordan. Of course, it worked when Victoria, and Claire went to confront Jordan. And also it worked when Nikki planned to catch her at their 40th anniversary celebration. So I have no doubt that Nikki will not fail. That is to make things worse. Just ask Claire and Harrison. Yeah, she's determined, though. She's the one that unleashed Jordan's fury, and she will be the one to put a stop to it, she tells Victoria at the beautiful tack house on Friday. Michelle says, Nikki, I have never, ever seen you standing next to a stove until today. I think this defines cognitive dissonance. I'm not complaining. I love the new set. That's hilarious. Never in our lives have we seen Nikki Newman standing next to a stove. Ugh. Gross. A stove. Gross. Cooking her own meals. Ew. Hey, how about this little bit of reality from Gary, who says, why are the Newmans and the Abbott security teams putting their heads together while Y&R pretends that this is not an international incident? The woman burned down a state prison. Stay calm, everyone, while we work to bring Kyle and Tara Locke's little boy home. No kidding. Why is there not a nationwide manhunt going on? Why are we keeping this a quiet family matter? When this should be a nationwide manhunt. Good question. Oh, Naomi says, I'd like to see a TV with a special announcement on Aunt Jordan, complete with picture and description of how dangerous she is. If you see this person, do not try to apprehend. Call the Newman or Abbott security teams right away. In a Genoa City alternate universe, everyone has a private security team and there's no police department. Yeah, exactly. What do we need the police for? The police never do anything. All they do is bumble around and mess things up. Let's let the security teams mess things up. It's cheaper. We need fewer extras for that. How about this final comment from Dolores, who says, Allie, you and the other chatters noted Kyle's new look as his James Dean persona. But when I look at him, I cannot help but see him as a character on the Munsters show. To be exact, he looks like Bruce Munster. Just another thought or look at the new look of Mr. Kyle Abbott. Yeah, all he needs is the widow's peak and the vampire cloak. Oh, man. All I can say is there is so much pomade in that hair. There must be a shortage. All right, everybody. That's a Y&R chat. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. And hey, leave me a comment about it. I would love to hear from you. You can go to yrchat.com. All the stuffs is there. Leave your comment, vote on the poll, do the quotes, see all the beautiful screen caps. I got some good ones this week. And yeah, come back next Sunday and we will then chat about it all again. I love you guys and I hope you have a wonderful week. I'll see you next time. Bye.